Good morning, my sweet friends. Happy Monday. Hopefully back to a normal week. Wind chill here in Texas is 3 degrees. What are you going to do, Kay? Are you guys going to survive it? I don't know. 3 degrees is pretty bad. I kind of think it's good once in a while for everybody just to freeze a little. 10 inches. Ugh. Everybody is snowy. I was just talking to somebody, and she said that they were going to get 12 inches of snow. They haven't even left the house in 3 days because the weather's been so bad. We're supposed to get a little bit of ice. I went out this morning to let out the dog, and I was like, oh, it's nice and warm. It's like 34. It's just nice and warm and nothing is slippery, but the trash cans were like covered in ice. So I was kind of surprised by that. Yes, CJ, I am. I'm feeling a lot better. Oh no, Diana. Where are you, Geneva? Remind me. Yes, I am feeling a lot better. I still have a little bit of like junk hanging on that doesn't want to go away, but I feel a lot better. I did get through yesterday without a nap, which is the first time in about 12 days. So that's a total win that I didn't have to take a nap yesterday. So yay. All right, January 6th. A son promised to Sarah, Genesis 18, 1 through 15. The Lord appeared again to Abraham near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. One day, Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed 3 men standing nearby. Excuse me. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. My lord, he said, if it please you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while water is brought to wash your feet. And since you've honored your servant with this visit, let me prepare some food to refresh you before you continue on your journey. All right, they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, hurry, get 3 large measures of your best flour, knead it into a dough, and bake some bread. Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a tender calf and gave it to his servant, who quickly prepared it. When the food was ready, Abraham took some yogurt and milk and roasted the meat, and he served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them in the shade of the trees. Where is Sarah, your wife? The visitors asked. She's inside the tent, Abraham replied. Then one of them said, I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah was listening to the conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old by this time, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself and said, how could a worn-out woman like me enjoy such pleasure, especially when my master, my husband, is also so old? Then the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she denied it, saying, I didn't laugh. But the Lord said, no, you did laugh. Abraham intercedes for Sodom, Genesis 18, 16 through 33. Then the men got up from their meal and looked out toward Sodom. As they left, Abraham went with them to send them on their way. Should I hide my plans from Abraham, the Lord asked? For Abraham will certainly become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. Then I will do for Abraham all that I have promised. So the Lord told Abraham, I have heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah because their sin is so flagrant. I am going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know. The other men turned and headed toward Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached him and said, Will you sweep away both the righteous and the wicked? Suppose you find 50 righteous people living there in the city. Will you still sweep it away and not spare it for their sakes? Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the righteous along with the wicked. Why, you would be treating the righteous and the wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right?" And the Lord replied, "If I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake." Then Abraham spoke again, "Since I have begun, let me speak further to my Lord, even though I am but dust and ashes. Suppose there are only 45 righteous people rather than 50. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5?" And the Lord said, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 righteous people there." Then Abraham pressed his request further. "Suppose there are only 40?" And the Lord replied, "I will not destroy it for the sake of the 40. "Please don't be angry, my Lord," Abraham pleaded. "Let me speak. Suppose there are only 30 righteous people found?" And the Lord replied, "I will not destroy it if I find 30. Then Abraham said, "Since I have dared to speak to the Lord, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20?" And the Lord replied, "Then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally, Abraham said, "Lord, please don't be angry with me if I speak one more time. Suppose there are only 10 found there." And the Lord replied, "Then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10. When the Lord had finished conversation with Abraham, he went on his way, and Abraham returned to his tent. Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. I know, I was just thinking that, Cindy. Genesis 19, 1 through 29. That evening, the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom. Lot was sitting there, and when he saw them, he stood up to meet them. Then he welcomed them and bowed with his face to the ground. "My lords," he said, "come to my home and wash your feet, and be my guests for the night. You may then get up early in the morning and be on your way again." "Oh no," they replied, "we'll just spend the night out here in the city square." But Lot insisted, so at last they went home with him. Lot prepared a feast for them, complete with fresh bread made without yeast, and they ate. But before they retired for the night, all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, "Where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out to us so we can have sex with them." So Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him. "Please, my brothers," he begged, "don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have this story will blow my mind for all of eternity. Look, I have 2 virgin daughters. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them as you wish. But please, leave these men alone, for they are my guests and are under my protection." "Stand back," they shouted. "This fellow came to the town as an outsider, and now he's acting like our judge. We'll treat you far worse than those other men." And they lunged toward Lot to break down the door. But the 2 angels reached out, pulled Lot into the house, and bolted the door. Then they blinded all the men, young and old, who were at the door of the house, so they gave up trying to get inside. Meanwhile, the angels questioned Lot. "Do you have any other relatives here in the city?" They asked, "Get them out of this place, your sons-in-laws, daughters, and anyone else, for we are about to destroy this city completely. The outcry against this place is so great it has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it." So Lot rushed out to tell his daughter's fiancés, "Quick, get out of this city. The Lord is about to destroy it." But the young men thought he was only joking. At dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. "Hurry," they said to Lot, "take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out right now, or you will be swept away in the destruction of the city." When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Oh no, my lord," Lot begged. "You have been so gracious to me and saved my life, and you have shown such great kindness. But I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there is a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved." "All right," the angel said, "I will grant your request. I will not destroy the little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there." This explains why that village was known as Zoar, which means little place. Lot reached the village as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them, along with the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Abraham got up early that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked out across the plain toward Sodom and Gomorrah and watched as columns of smoke rose from the cities like the smoke from a furnace. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from the disaster that engulfed the cities on the plain. Lot and his daughters, Genesis 19:30 through 38. Afterward, Lot left Zoar because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave in the mountains with his two daughters. One day, the older daughter said to her sister, "There are no men left anywhere in this entire area, so we can't get married like everyone else, and our father will soon be too old to have children. Come, let's get him drunk with wine, and then we will have sex with him. That way we will preserve our family through our father. Preserve the family line through our father." So that night they got him drunk with wine, and the older daughter went and had intercourse with her father. He was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. The next morning, the older daughter said to her younger sister, "I had sex with our father last night. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you go in and have sex with him. That way we will preserve our family line through our father." So that night they got him drunk with wine again, and the younger daughter went in and had intercourse with him. As before, he was unaware of her lying down or getting up. As a result, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their own father. When the older daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Moab. He became the ancestor of the nation now known as the Moabites. When the younger daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Ben-Ami. He became the ancestor of the nation known as the Ammonites. Abraham deceives Abimelech, Genesis 20:1 through 18. Abraham moved south to the Negev and lived for a while between Kadesh and Shur, and then he moved to Gerar. While living there as a foreigner, Abraham introduced his wife Sarah by saying, "She is my sister." So Abimelech of Gerar sent for Sarah and had her brought to him at his palace. But that night God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you have taken is already married." So Abimelech had not slept with her yet, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Didn't Abraham tell me she is my sister?" And she herself said, "Yes, he is my brother. I acted in complete innocence. My hands are clean." In the dream, God responded, "Yes, I know you are innocent. That's why I kept you from sinning against me, and why I did not let you touch her. Now return the woman to her husband, and he will pray for you, for he is a prophet. Then you will live. But if you don't return her to him, you can be sure that you and all of your people will die." Abimelech got up early the next morning and quickly called all his servants together. When he told them what happened, his men were terrified. Then Abimelech called for Abraham. "What have you done to us?" he demanded. "What crime have I committed that deserves treatment like this, making me and my kingdom guilty of this great sin? No one should ever do what you have done. Whatever possessed you to do such a thing?" Abraham replied, "I thought, this is a godless place. They will want my wife and will kill me to get her. And she really is my sister, for we both have the same father, but different mothers. And I married her. When God called me to leave my father's home and to travel from place to place, I told her, 'Do me a favor. Wherever you go, tell people that I am your brother.' Then Abimelech took some of his sheep and goats and cattle and male and female servants, and he presented them to Abraham. He also returned his wife, Sarah, to him. Then Abimelech said, 'Look over my land and choose any place where you would like to live.' And Sarah said, 'Look, I am giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver in the presence of all of these witnesses. This is to compensate you for any wrong I may have done to you. This will settle any claim against me, and your reputation is cleared.' Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants so they could have children. For the Lord had caused all the women to be infertile because of what had happened with Abraham's wife, Sarah. The birth of Isaac, Genesis 21:1 through 7. The Lord kept his word and did for Sarah exactly what he had promised. She became pregnant, and she gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age. This happened at just the time God said it would, and Abraham named their son Isaac. 8 days after Isaac was born, Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. And Sarah declared, "God has brought me laughter. All who hear about this will laugh with me. Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a baby? Yet I have given Abraham a son in his old age." I don't know who says the word isn't exciting. If anybody says the Bible is boring to read, they obviously have not read Genesis. Okay. Brothers marrying sisters, daughters having children with their father, cities burning down. It's wild. All right. We're on chapter 4 of Learning to Live Above by Carmen McLean. This chapter is called Finding Your Fit. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." It is the universal problem among women, finding clothes that fit. Most of us have been down that road of trying on brand after brand, searching for the one that will fit perfectly. You know the story. The dressing room is piled with clothes that did not make the cut. Your hair is a mess, and you're sweating from trying on every outfit in the store. You cannot find that perfect match to the vision you had in your head, and now you are fed up and frustrated. It is usually at this point of the story that I scrap the shopping and head for the cookies with extra icing. Regardless of your size and shape, we can all identify with struggling to find the right fit. Similarly, we can struggle to find our fit spiritually. In the past 2 weeks, I have had several women on separate occasions tell me that they were having a difficult time finding their place. And in my own life, I have dealt with similar feelings. Sometimes we search for that group of people with whom we can belong, or maybe a place where we feel like we fit, or even a purpose that creates for us a niche. In any case, I have found that we spend a great deal of time searching and not a lot of time finding. I began praying about this dilemma and asking God to show me the problem. God directed me to the story of Noah. This story has made a great impact on me in many ways, but one thing in particular really stood out to me: the difference in the raven and the dove. The story of Noah and the ark is very familiar to most people. Even Hollywood made a spin on it in Evan Almighty. Although I had heard this story many times as a child, I wanted to put aside the storybook aspect of it to really understand the situation. I found out that Noah, his family, and all of the animals were on the ark for over a year. They had to be confined with all of those animals in an enclosed boat, rocking back and forth on the water for an incredible amount of time. Can you imagine the discomfort, the boredom, the smell? I began to get bored. I began to get bored and cramped up on family car trips after only a few hours. I cannot imagine being on a boat with every species of animal for over 365 days. Noah was ready to get out of that uncomfortable ark and find his family a place to settle, a place that felt right. So he sent out a raven to look for land. The Bible tells us that the raven kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. The raven never went back to the ark. It just kept searching and searching for anywhere to put its feet. It did not matter if it was a good place or a bad place. The raven was determined to find somewhere to set his feet. Then Noah sent out a dove. The Bible tells us that the dove could find no place to set its feet. So it returned to Noah in the ark. Oh, excuse me. The dove went searching, just as the raven, but when it did not find the right place, it knew to go back to the place provided for him. One of the biggest differences in the raven and the dove is their appetite. The raven will eat almost anything to satisfy his craving, whether it is good or bad. The dove, on the other hand, will only eat what is designed to eat, which is mostly plant food. We oftentimes behave like the raven, searching frantically to satisfy our longing to belong. We will go from job to job, church to church, looking for the perfect place. We will hook up with the wrong group of friends because they satisfy our desire to fit. We will work ourselves to death trying to fill our need for purpose. All the while, God wants us to be like the dove. The dove looked to see if God had made him a new place yet. And when he could not find the right place, then he went back to the place God had made for him to wait. You see, God has made a place for you to fit perfectly within his plan. But sometimes we have to wait in an uncomfortable place until he opens the door. Do not go searching desperately for your place, because God will show you where it is if you will trust and wait on him. The ark was a place of protection and provision until the right place came along. And when it did, God opened the door. The raven wore himself out, looking for anything to satisfy his craving, and then settled for much less than God's best. Don't be like the raven. Don't settle. God has great plans for you, so wait for his timing to open the door. Okay, I have to read through the chat. Oh my goodness. Cheeseburger soup, Lois. That sounds good. Southern California. I've been to Southern California a couple of times. I was blown away at how beautiful it was. Palm Springs is where I was. So beautiful. I went in, I want to say February, both times, and it was like 80. A 2-year study on Genesis. Wow. That's a long study. Oh my goodness, Jamie. All right, you guys. Oh, that sounds good, Nikki. I had AG1 with a scoop of collagen and a scoop of essentials. I need to start drinking collagen consistently. I've got AG1 or not, I just have a ton of it to use up. It's not that I'm like crazy over it, but I have a bunch I've got to use up. And I have got to start drinking collagen consistently because my hair is falling out at a very rapid pace, like significant amounts of hair loss. Like I'm starting to see like my scalp way more than I should, and it's really stressing me out. So I've got a new shampoo bar and conditioner bar that is supposed to be good for hair loss coming. And I need to start drinking my collagen every morning again. And then, yeah, so I'll eat at some point. But I think I am going to go live this morning. As long as I don't have any other meetings, which I don't even know. My schedule is messed up this morning. No, I don't have anything else until noon. So, well, mine's been falling out way before COVID, Jill. It's been falling out for like 3 weeks, and it's gotten really bad, like really bad. Like lots, like it's really concerning me. So I started drinking collagen. Yeah, it's not due to the COVID because this started before the COVID. I mean, some of it now maybe because of the COVID, but it's not from that. I was doing that before. It might be the tirzepatide. It might not. It could be the hormones that I'm taking because hormone balancing can cause hair loss. So I don't know, brain fog or hair loss. Which would I rather have? I don't know. There are wigs. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I think I'm going to go live this morning to make some of my fermented veggie salad. I haven't made it in a while, and it's a great way to get your gut health really going, which I'm working really hard on. I've been drinking lots of kefir, and I'm going to have some El Ruderai yogurt soon, and I'm going to do fermented veggie salad. I really need I need more fermented veggies. I haven't had any in my fridge for a couple of months, and I need some. So I think I'll make that this morning to get it going. It'll take about 8 days before I can eat it. So I think we'll do that together this morning. I hope you'll join me. If not, I hope to see you back tomorrow for devotions. And yeah, I love each and every one of you. Oh, I forgot to pray. God, our Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for your word this morning. Thank you for the reminders of how much you love and care for us. how much you were willing to not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah for the sake of even 10, and probably even one, God. And yet, I just thank you for that reminder of how much you really love each and every one of us. God, I pray for each person here. I know there are a lot of struggles happening, folks in the hospital, a lot of people with illness. I pray for this gentleman that fell on the ice and has this brain bleed happening, that you would bring healing there and protection and just swift recovery from that. I pray for those in the path of the storm that are experiencing dangerous driving and power outages and just a lot for many folks to handle right now. And I just pray for your protection over each and every one of them. God, I just thank you that we have this place to come before you and to join our hearts in prayer to our King. And I pray that it is honoring to you this year as we walk through the word together and continue to dive in and learn more and draw closer to you. In your precious name, amen. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do this morning, Nikki, is I'm going to make the veggie salad live this morning. I got to change my shirt because I'm so covered in dog hair. So I need to change my shirt and then we'll go live and make it together in just a few minutes. It won't take me but a couple of minutes to get everything out. It's super simple to do. So, all right, you guys, I love you so much and I hope you